In today's video, what causes hunger pains? Hey guys, what's going on? This is Paul Ravella from ProPhysique.com. In today's video, we're going to talk about the topic of hunger, especially when it comes to weight loss, because it's something that we all kind of just know and expect. But today's question actually comes from someone on my Instagram direct message. And so I want to go over a little bit about the mechanisms behind hunger and perhaps what are some ways that we can kind of make hunger less apparent when we're trying to go through these phases of fat loss, because it is a very powerful physiological and even psychological issue that we have to deal with. So today's question, I'm going to put my Instagram on the screen here for you guys. If you'd like to send me direct messages, what I typically do is scan through them, screenshot them, and then answer them as I'm able to. So the question says, I'm in a cut and I'm constantly hungry. What causes hunger pains when properly hydrated? Is it not eating enough food or not eating enough calories? Are hunger pains a part of the process, or should I eat more voluminous foods and or take in or adjust my calorie intake? Thanks, man. All right, so it's a very good question. And there are a few things that can actually cause hunger that have nothing to do with us needing more calories. But if you think of hunger from an evolutionary perspective, it's basically our body's way of saying, hey, you need some more food, you need some more fuel. And a lot of times we associate hunger with needing more food, but it's actually sometimes not the case. If you're dehydrated, now this gentleman mentions that he is hydrated, so that's not the case for him. But if you are dehydrated, hunger can be a part of that as well. Food actually is hydrating. It does contain fluid, most foods anyway. So there are other things like sleep deprivation. If you are very sleep deprived, if you've heard of this as a reason for people gaining weight, that's why you have some hormonal imbalances. But the actual mechanism behind hunger is a hormone called ghrelin, which is released in anticipation of food. So our bodies get used to the pattern at which we eat. And I think years ago, it was very common to say, well, if you eat 2 or 3 small meals a day or whatever, 5 or 6 small meals a day, you're actually going to increase your metabolism and you're going to be hungrier all day long. What we now know to be true is that does not matter. There is no difference in kind of the burning of food in large and small meals when calories are equal. What you've done essentially by eating a bunch of small meals a day is you've increased your brain's and stomach's anticipation of food. So the reason you get hungry when you eat every 2 or 3 hours is because you eat every 2 or 3 hours. As an example, if you change to a fasting model, your hunger signals will change drastically. And so that becomes your norm. So don't associate being hungry with your metabolism really ramping up. Now, it doesn't mean it's not ramping up. It doesn't mean it's not the case. What I'm saying is when calories are equal between small meals and large meals over the course of a day, there is no difference in how those calories are burned, okay? Our body just changes the process a bit. So I want to give you guys some tips on hunger. First and foremost, hunger is probably the biggest differentiator between those of us that are successful in dieting, those of us are not. If you can't learn to deal with hunger at times, you're probably not going to be successful in some of your goals. If those goals are to get to a place where your body fat is below your set point. And most of us that are watching this channel are interested in things like, a physique competition or seeing our abs, or, they want to look really lean and good in the gym. And the first time I was ever able to accomplish that was when I learned to deal with hunger a little bit. And you also mentioned something in this question called food volume, which is a very important consideration. Now, I'm someone who believes in this idea of flexible dieting, that all foods, while not created equal, calorically are equal. So yes, you can reach your goals by eating Pop-Tarts and ice cream. However, there is not a lot of food volume in Pop-Tarts and ice cream. You get a lot of sugar in your food. What happens is the food volume goes way down versus eating foods that are more voluminous, the good stuff, the stuff that we know to be healthy. You can eat things like oatmeal and vegetables and fruit, and you get a lot of satiety through those because you're actually getting more food volume. It actually fills up your stomach. One way to ensure that you're going to get hunger pangs or the kind of convulsing of the muscles in the stomach is if you eat a meal that's really high in sugar and then have nothing after it, your stomach is going to break that down very quickly and leave you feeling hungry again, okay? The way to avoid that is by choosing foods that are higher in volume. Having higher protein meals are great. Protein is actually great for satiety because it takes a while to break down. And so then you get the benefit of having that helping you with your blood sugar. So this is where when people discuss things like insulin and low carb diets, it can help with hunger. However, for physique athletes and performance athletes and those that that are just busy and active, I'm really a believer in using a carbohydrate-based diet because carbohydrates are a fantastic source of energy. So what I really prefer for my athletes to do is we focus on setting our meals up in a pattern that fits our lifestyle so that when we are going to have some hunger pains, we can do things to avoid them. One of my favorite things to do is have a 0-calorie carbonated beverage. This is a great way between meals to kind of give you the sensation of something that you're tasting. I'll use often diet sodas or branched chain amino acids between meals. Then you're getting a few things. You're getting the sensation of something sweet, but you're also getting the sensation of hydration. And one of the things that is most common, which is discussed in a lot of literature, is that you're not always actually hungry. Sometimes you are just very dehydrated. So drinking a bunch of fluids instead of having food is one way that you can avoid hunger. There are also things like appetite suppressants. Now, you'll hear them on the market discussed as fat burners. That's a term that, it's just marketing. They're not actually burning fat. What they're allowing you to do is suppress your appetite, and they're stimulants. So they're going to give you a little bit of energy so throughout the day you can move more. If you eat less and move more, you have the opportunity to burn fat burner. But they themselves are not going to do the job. All supplements should allow you to perform and recover better to reach your goals. They're not going to be something that you just take and things happen without any action from you. So we can include things like fat burners early in the morning, middle of the day, when we know we're going to get hungry. Why? It suppresses the appetite signal, and to the point where I've taken some of these fat burner products before and actually forgotten to eat. That's right. So there are some powerful options out there. Depending on your goals, depending on your needs, maybe you don't want to avoid being hungry. So it just comes down to a few things. Yes, in a fat loss phase, while you're creating a caloric deficit, there are going to be periods of time when you're hungry. I don't like anyone that I'm working with to wake up in the middle of the night hungry. So what I'll typically do if we reach that place is try to save a large meal for before bed so that it's digesting slowly, making sure we're getting plenty of fats, proteins, and slow digesting carbohydrates before bed so that we can get a good night's sleep, because sleep is a very important part of this. But setting up your day and routine around having those meals when you need them most for performance, and then having some plans for when you expect to be hungry. Things like diet soda with 0 calories. Hey, you can argue if soda is healthy, but carbonated 0-calorie drinks, well, they're a great way to kind of stave off hunger and get you to your next meal when you should be eating, instead of snacking, taking in extra calories, and stopping the process of fat burning. So hopefully this helps you out, my friend. Yes, we all deal with hunger. I'll say this from a perspective of someone that diets down and competes in bodybuilding shows regularly. If I'm not hungry during the day, in between meals, at the end of my diet, I really don't feel like I'm dieting hard enough. So I begin to actually enjoy being hungry a little bit. It's just a part of the process. And I think we can all learn to be hungry and realize that, wow, it didn't hurt us. You can be hungry. You can fast. You can not eat for long periods of time and you'll be just fine. And when you learn that, you learn to deal with it and you're not going to lose any muscle. All right, guys, that's it. Paul from ProPhysique.com. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow.